The following is a production of Florida State University's Office of University Communications. Coming up on FSU Headlines, a tradition of tribute. Osceola and Renegade visit the Seminole Tribe of Florida. A survivor's tale. Florida State researchers help cancer survivors rebuild strength. Is man's best friend also a great workout partner? We'll find out. Stay tuned for these stories and more. FSU Headlines starts now. Hello and welcome to another edition of FSU Headlines, coming to you from the campus of Florida State University. I'm Dennis Schnitker. You probably know that the top tradition in all of college football makes its home right here at Florida State University. But this isn't the only place you'll see that tradition. Osceola and Renegade lead the way at the Seminole Tribe of Florida's annual Brighton Field Day and Rodeo Parade in Brighton, Florida. It's the only non-Florida State University appearance these two make. This time, they were joined by 50 members of the Florida State University Marching Chiefs, all guests of the Seminole Tribe of Florida, appearing by special invitation. And for just the second time in history, Osceola and Renegade planted the spear to open the tribe's annual Brighton Rodeo. Here now is a closer look at the trip and the incredible friendship between the Seminole Tribe of Florida and Florida State University.
It is rodeo time!
Welcome to Brighton, home of the Seminole Tribe of Florida, and on this weekend, the home of professional rodeo.
The land that has drawn deep in the herd. Shasta, go to it. Look at this nice flashy horse.
Each year, the Brighton Reservation hosts its annual Field Day and Rodeo, drawing hundreds of residents and visitors alike to celebrate Native American culture with a full day of fun, including a parade, carnival, and a hard-charging professional PRCA rodeo.
We're happy to say that we've been doing it for 76 years. I believe we're one of the longest running Native American festival in the whole country.
This started out as an event where Seminole people could get together, socialize, have fun, eat food, and maybe a little bit of competition between horse racing and maybe foot races and those kind of things. But it has evolved into what you see here today, and we're proud of it.
Our rodeo facility is probably one of the best in the state of Florida. You know, we draw a lot of the big contestants throughout the United States.
Safe to say, the Seminole Tribe of Florida enjoys a good rodeo. It also enjoys a positive relationship with Florida State University. So, why not put them together? That's what happened in February 2012, when Osceola and Renegade planted the spear during their first visit to the Brighton Reservation.
And I'm glad FSU came here, and Osceola and Renegade's here, and Alan, thank you for bringing them. So we're having us a good time.
That visit was a hit, so the tribe invited Osceola and Renegade back and asked them to bring the band too.
A few years ago, when the National Collegiate Athletic Association was coming down on the use of mascots, the Seminole Tribal Council took the step of supporting Florida State University to use the mascot Seminoles. And I think we want to create more to that relationship. So we started bringing the horse to begin with, and then this year we got the band, and we're excited.
You know, we appreciate the partnership that we have with Florida State. And I can't think of, another partnership or relationship out there with another major university like that with the Indian tribe.
With the tribe's blessing and express permission, Florida State University athletic teams bear the Seminole name in athletic competition. The use of the Seminole name by Florida State is one of tribute and homage to the unconquered Seminole Tribe of Florida. Usage reviewed and approved as well by the National Collegiate Athletics Association.
I think everybody in the tribe is supportive of the Florida State and are very proud to be associated with the university and appreciate, that they showcase our name and that they do try to learn about our culture.
This year's visit included a few surprise guest stars. 4 members of the 2013 National Championship Seminole football team.
How y'all doing? Devontae Freeman, nice to see everybody. Thank y'all for coming out and supporting us.
The players signed autographs and posed for photos, but the real stars this day were Florida State's legendary symbols. After the marching chiefs presented the national anthem, it was time for Osceola and Renegade to take to the rodeo ring and plant the spear.
Ladies and gentlemen, the most recognized mascot in college athletics.
And the Seminole Tribe of Florida actually makes its home on 6 different reservations located throughout South Florida. While the tribe is known for its tourism and gaming operations, it also happens to be one of the country's largest cattle producers. Our second headline of the program: Florida State University is the most efficient university in the nation. For the second consecutive year, Florida State University proves it knows how to make the most of the funds it receives. Florida State is among the most efficient of the nation's highest-ranked universities, according to a new list released by U.S. News & World Report. The list recognizes universities that produce the highest educational quality, but spend less than similar universities to achieve that quality. And Florida State also took home the top spot in 2012. The Florida State University College of Nursing also proves its excellence on campus and online. That's according to U.S. News & World Report's 2013 Best Online Graduate Program rankings. U.S. News & World Report ranked the Florida State College of Nursing's online graduate program 6th best among public universities and 10th best among all universities, both public and private. The ranking is based on student engagement, faculty credentials and training, student services and technology, peer reputation, and admissions selectivity.
We do distance learning courses but they can do their clinical aspects, because one of the things that we all do within the context of the program is they will have a certain number of hours in which they are actually engaged with a preceptor teaching, learning how to teach in a classroom, developing a teaching plan, learning how to evaluate students both in the classroom setting and in the clinical setting for nursing.
Administrators hope the recognition will attract more students to the program and contribute to the effort to make Florida State University one of the top 25 public universities in the country. A passion for language leads a Florida State University professor to a Presidential Early Career Award. Associate Professor of Language Arts Young-Suk Kim is one of 2 U.S. Department of Education recipients of the Presidential Early Career Award for Scientists and Engineers. She won the award for her years of work in language and literacy development at Florida State. Dr. Kim will travel to Washington, D.C., where President Obama will honor her and her fellow recipients at the White House.
I'm so happy to think about it, and it's one of the dreams that I had, and I'm very fortunate to have that dream come true. Top researcher, that's my goal. I'm doing good work. So, and this, for me, this has happened in doing good work. This was not the goal for me, so I'll just continue to do good work.
Florida State University recently recognized some of its biggest newsmakers from the past year during a special event. FSU Headlines reporter Chelsea Bober was there and joins us now with a recap. Chelsea?
Thanks, Dennis. Florida State faculty garner a lot of national and international acclaim for their outstanding work. For the second year in a row, Florida State honors their achievements.
The Family Law Partnership, working with law enforcement, with domestic violence.
Florida State plays host to the Newsmakers of the Year event to recognize its outstanding faculty that made headlines around the world. Several professors received recognition in national and international publications, like at USA Today and the New York Times. They were also featured on television networks like CNN, Fox News, and NBC News. This annual celebration is a way for FSU to recognize the faculty's contributions with raising the profile of the university.
It's very exciting to be part of the Newsmakers of 2013. In fact, first time I've been recognized for this, and I think this is a very wonderful event to hold.
Almost every scientist here will publish in a scientific journal, which is readership is minimal. and you get into a media situation like this, and you can really reach a huge audience, and that really brings a great light to FSU, to your department, to your program, and creates some excitement around all of your activities in the lab.
This is the second annual Newsmakers of the Year celebration. Dennis, back to you.
All right, thank you, Chelsea. Well, still to come on FSU Headlines, Florida State University researchers find a way to build strength in cancer survivors.
We're hoping that these interventions that aren't drug-related, that are somewhat cost-effective and safe, can help counteract these side effects.
That story and more when FSU Headlines returns in a moment.
A spirit roams these parts. A spirit of respect, competition, and academic greatness. Some call our spirit myth. Others call it legend. We call it Florida State University.
When you purchase a Florida State University license plate, you're supporting students, like me. Tag, you're it.
Hello and welcome back to FSU Headlines. I'm Dennis Schnitker. Our next story is a story of perseverance. Cancer survivors are hitting the gym at Florida State, and through their workouts, they're gaining a new lease on life. It's all part of a Florida State University study designed to help them regain their strength after beating cancer. FSU Headlines reporter Mark Vaughn introduces us to one study participant who's finding her strength one rep at a time.
It is a horrible feeling. I don't think there's anything quite like being told that you have cancer, any kind of cancer.
Tallahassee resident Jenny Simons is the epitome of the word survivor. Jenny fought and beat cancer twice, but overcoming the disease had its costs. Jenny needed 15 surgeries to correct several complications, including bone chips due to the chemotherapy treatment she received. After it was all said and done, she had another fight on her hands. She'd lost muscle and was at risk for osteoporosis.
And I was at a very low point in my life because I'd had a lot of surgeries and I couldn't reach over my head. I couldn't reach my back to bathe it.
Despite these new challenges, Jenny wasn't going to give up that easily, but she did need some help. Through a friend, she heard about a new study in Florida State University's Department of Nutrition, Food, and Exercise Science. The study focuses on helping women over 40 who've beaten cancer to build muscle through resistance training.
So I thought, well, this would be great. Maybe this is something that maybe they can help me get back where I need to get back.
Associate Professor of Exercise Science Lynn Panton is the lead researcher in the study. Her collaborator and Florida State doctoral candidate, Tich Medzima, explains the need for a specific program for breast cancer survivors.
As we all age, changes in body composition occur. Primarily, we see an increase in the loss of muscle mass, an increase in fat mass, and a decrease in bone mineral density. So what we see in a lot of cancers is that these changes are accelerated. So we're hoping that these interventions that aren't drug-related, that are somewhat cost-effective and safe, can help counteract these side effects, maybe even reverse them, or at least slow down the accelerated changes in body composition and muscular strength.
And with that goal in mind, they hit the gym at Florida State a couple times a week with this group of cancer survivors. By the end of the program and through hundreds of reps of bicep curls and leg presses, things have changed for Jenny.
When I started the program, I couldn't lift hardly any weights, and at the end of 6 months, I was lifting for me a lot of weights, and it helped me physically. The students here at FSU are fabulous. We felt so loved, and that's what all of us needed at that particular time. We needed just unconditional, I'm happy you're here, and that's what we got here.
The result of the first study has been published in the journal Applied Physiology, Nutrition, and Metabolism. For FSU Headlines, I'm Mark Vaughn.
Their first study complete, the researchers are now conducting a follow-up, studying resistance training using a protein drink as a supplement. And you probably guessed it, Jenny Simons signed up again. We wish her all the best. A Florida State University researcher shines a light on perhaps slowing down and even preventing preterm labor.
Then they're able to respond to melatonin and induce contractions well.
Florida State Associate Professor of Biomedical Sciences James Olchese is studying a way to reduce preterm labor problems. In 2009, Olchese discovered that many women go into labor at night when melatonin is at its peak. Through a study with women 38 to 40 weeks pregnant, Olchese concluded that by shining a light on them for 1 hour a night, cells associated with contractions saw a drop in melatonin levels, suppressing contractions and possibly delaying labor. The problem with the white light, it made it uncomfortable for the woman to get a good night's sleep. Olchese is now developing light-emitting devices, or goggles, that will flash a blue light at the patient. Olchese says the blue light has the same effect as the white light and does not disturb the patient when she's sleeping.
So we thought, let's take the next step and develop a light-emitting device, a goggle, if you will, to miniaturize the light source, make it more comfortable, less expensive, and see if that works.
Olchese was recently awarded a $35,000 award from Florida State. He says he'll use the money to fund a second trial to help figure out how to best deliver the blue light flashes. STEM, it stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. Now, thanks to a $14.3 million in grants from the Florida Department of Education, Florida State University is helping promote quality STEM teaching in K-12 schools across the state of Florida. Rabia Razouk is the director of FSU's Florida Center for Research in Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. He's one of the key players in making sure Florida's K-12 educators receive the training and support they need via FCR STEM Learn, a program designed to deepen educators' knowledge of science and mathematics.
To deliver the training. So for the first 60 hours, it's very focused on content training, understanding the content that they go through. Take the time and what you've learned and how are you going to transform this into instruction, into activities and lessons that you'll do with your own students.
And the program will assist over 2,000 Florida teachers and is expected to expand in 2015. The National High Magnetic Field Laboratory at Florida State University opens its doors for all to come and visit during its annual open house. The free event invites everyone to come and see what's going on inside the Mag Lab. Scientists there displayed close to 80 exhibits, but ones that everyone could understand, like what happens to flowers when you stick them in freezing liquid nitrogen, and how to make a potato gun.
2, 1. Crushing bottles was awesome. I saw the potato cannon.
And the guy with the tie-dye beard, that's actually the director of the National High Magnetic Field Laboratory, Greg Bobinger.
We have our annual open house at the Magnet Lab. We open up our doors and we have over 100 exhibits. We get about 5,000 people from the general public coming in to talk to our scientists and see what we do here.
It's all about mass and transfer of energy.
Science, technology, engineering, math is one of my hobbies. I work in the information technology field, and I was an engineering student, and I brought my godchildren out because I just want them to learn more about, STEM.
Well, coming up on FSU Headlines, as the weather starts to warm up, so does the action on the diamond. We catch up with the Florida State baseball and softball teams when FSU Headlines continues in a moment. Welcome back to FSU Headlines. I'm Dennis Schnitker. With the weather warming up outside, well, at least some of the time, That means spring is approaching, and what's more synonymous with spring than baseball? FSU Headlines reporter Mark Vaughn joins us now from Dick Howser Stadium to break down the Florida State Seminoles baseball team. Mark, they're definitely going into the early part of the season with high hopes.
Exactly, Dennis. The Florida State baseball team is on a mission in 2014, and the goal is to end the season in Omaha in the College World Series. Florida State returns 21 players from last year's squad that advanced to the Super Regionals for the 6th year in a row. Florida State returns 6 position starters, including redshirt senior captain Justin Gonzalez, who's back at shortstop after missing all but 5 games in 2013 with a right hip injury. On the mound, the Seminoles welcome back 11 pitchers, including 3 starters that logged at least 58 innings a season ago. So things looking good on the mound for the Noles, and in the relief pitcher spot, not to mention Heisman Trophy winning football quarterback Jameis Winston. So it's a tough rotation that stacks up well against its ACC opponents. And of course, they'll be bringing those big bats to the plate again this year. Florida State opened the season ranked in the top 10 in all the major polls. Well, the baseball team isn't the only team on the diamond this spring. You can count the Florida State Seminoles softball team among the groups ready for a great season. The team started the season ranked in the top 15 by several polls and hope to use an experienced roster to win games this year. The 2014 Seminoles bring back 8 players that started at least 30 games in 2013, and that includes junior pitcher Lacey Waldrop, who led the pitching staff with a 24-10 record and a 1.53 ERA last year. In 2013, the Seminoles hit a program record 60 runs. They bring a lot of that power back to the plate this season. So a solid crew of freshmen are going to give the Seminoles even more depth. Those players will be battling for some starts this year. All in all, it should be a fun season for softball fans. And finally, in sports news, the Florida State basketball team opens up the home court to recognize the university's student veterans during their game with Miami inside the Donald L. Tucker Civic Center at Florida State University. The ceremony gives the fans and students of Florida State the opportunity to recognize its student veterans and their contributions to the country and Florida State.
The Military Appreciation basketball game is one of the many great traditions that we have here at Florida State that supports student veterans here at Ugly University. Honestly, every year it's so amazing to come out and get recognized by all the fans and to see the growth that the student veterans and the organization and the university's had in its efforts towards supporting student veterans. It's such an amazing initiative.
All right, that's going to do it for sports. Dennis, back to you.
All right, thank you, Mark. It's not always easy to find the personal motivation to exercise as much as we should. But now, one Florida State University study is taking a new approach. For more on this, we're joined by FSU Headlines reporter Sam Lane, who tells us about pet therapy. Sam?
The effect a dog has on a person can be both motivational and inspirational. Maybe, perhaps that's why they're called man's best friend. Tallahassee Memorial actually uses dogs as part of its pet therapy program to provide therapeutic services to some of its patients. Well, a recent study at Florida State University is expanding on this when it comes to seniors and exercise. Tallahassee Westminster Oaks resident Mary Stevenson isn't usually a fan of exercise classes.
Generally, exercise classes are boring and they're not something I generally enjoy.
However, the class Stevenson is in doesn't involve your typical workout. Sure, the exercises are similar, bicep curls, resistance band training, mixed in with some mild cardio, but what's different about this class isn't so much who is leading the workout, but who is joining them. Meet Lola, Stryker, and Bogey. They're workout partners.
I think that people just in general just love dogs.
A study done by Florida State University is looking at whether exercising with dogs can lead to better health outcomes for seniors. The researchers are looking at blood pressure, mood, physical ability, and whether the participants stuck with the program.
This is the only study that has incorporated pet therapy with exercise, so it's more to see can it be done, and if so, maybe we'll be able to do a longer study to maybe see greater changes or differences.
The dogs mimic the exercises the participants do in order to motivate them when the exercise might be a little challenging.
Especially as the participants get a little bit tired towards the end of the week and towards the end of the sessions, having the dogs around can help motivate them and keep them going.
At the start of the study, the researchers took basic measurements from the participants and will take the same measurements at the end of the study. But But not everyone at Westminster Oaks who are in the exercise classes get to work out with the dogs. There are 2 classes that are involved in the study. One gets the dogs, the other doesn't.
So we're looking to see if there might be a difference between the dog group and the group that doesn't have the dogs, to maybe see if the dog group, maybe with the influence of the dogs, may be working a little bit more and challenge themselves a little bit more as being inspired by the dog.
Exercise classes are not something I generally find really fun, but with the dogs here, it does make it fun.
The study ran for 6 weeks, and now the researchers are in the process of reviewing the material to see if it can translate into a large-scale study. Dennis?
All right, thank you for that report, Sam. Florida State University gives well-deserved recognition to a former vice president in one of the quietest rooms on campus. Florida State University recently dedicated the Strozier Library Reading Room in honor of former FSU Vice President of Planning and Programs Robert Bradley. Bradley also served as the Director of Science and Public Affairs and was in charge of other university activities, including accreditation, institutional effectiveness, and academic learning compacts.
To me, the library and the academy are integral to one another. You can't have a good university unless you have a good library and unless you have a great librarian and all the folks here. So I am singularly honored to have a room in this wonderful building and to be part of, continuing part of this university. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And in addition to the serious studying, the Robert B. Bradley Reading Room is occasionally used to host seminars and distinguished speakers. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of FSU Headlines, but you can see more news from Florida State University anytime at Florida State 24/7. It's the official news website of Florida State University, and you can find it at news.fsu.edu. On behalf of everyone here at Florida State University, I'm Dennis Schnitker. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.